Speedway tonight. One of the most historic races on the series schedule for the Whelen Modified Tour. Race tonight in a packed crowd here in Wilkes County. Tonight, some of the biggest stars get ready to race on one of the most abrasive surfaces that the series will run on in the 2023 campaign. But we've got series veterans, including Bobby Labonte, NASCAR Hall of Famer, who's ready to take on this track, and some of the series regulars like Doug Coby, who's back in action tonight to take on this 5/8 mile North Wilkesboro Oval here in North Carolina. Welcome inside North Wilkesboro Speedway, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour for the Brushy Powersports 150 in the inaugural running of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour here at this racetrack. I'm Joe Koss, a packed crowd here, ready to see open wheel modified competition, and it is a picture-perfect Saturday evening in North Carolina for modified racing. This race, nearly 17 years to the day since the NASCAR Cup Series last ran a points-paying race here at this racetrack. NASCAR that started some 75 years ago with the open wheel modified division. And today will be the first time under the NASCAR banner that the modifieds race here at this racetrack. Modified racing has been part of the fabric of this storied facility for many, many years in the past. But tonight, under the NASCAR banner, brings a new flavor. Matt Hirschman is back. Car number 60, injured his arm, breaking his arm in the August race at the Thompson Speedway in Connecticut, is back and ready to do battle. He'll start on the outside of the front row here tonight. Had a very good qualifying effort earlier today out of Northampton, Pennsylvania. So Hirschman, a driver to keep an eye on this evening, as he is one of the drivers who is very good and efficient when it comes to conserving equipment on this rough racetrack. Justin Bonsignor had a pretty good qualifying effort as well. Just last time out, we had the Riverhead Raceway event where he and Ronnie Silk went toe-to-toe and battled aggressively to the finish. Justin rattled Ronnie Silk's cage, pushed him out of the way, and was able to get the victory that day. And with that win, was able to capture the Whelen Modified Tour point lead for the first time since May when Silk had taken it over. And that's a story that will continue to battle. You see the cars rolling out onto the racetrack, onto pit road. They'll pause on the front straightaway to be introduced in front of this outstanding crowd. And the driver who will lead them around to the green flag will be Austin Beers, who earned his 6th career and 6th of the season Mayhew Tool Full Award earlier in the day today. That 64 car, very, very fast today. Quickest in practice, and ended up being quickest in qualifying as well. As the cars pull along the front straightaway here and align 38 strong for this evening's event. One of the biggest Whelen Modified Tour entry fields that we have seen since 2019. So many teams have had this race circled on their schedule, and they announced it last season that 2023 would feature the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour here at North Wilkesboro. Many of the teams planned it out so that they could have their entire crew here. There's not many crew members and team members that have missed this one. You go all the way down through, whether it's a tire changer, the gas men, the screw, the spotters, everybody involved with these modified teams enthusiastic about coming here to this track. And you can't go to a gas station, a convenience store, a diner here in North Wilkesboro this weekend and people not be excited. The entire community rallying around modified racing here this weekend, and it is on display in all the colors of a rainbow here tonight in true fashion under just picture-perfect skies and a beautiful fall evening here for modified action. 150 laps and so much on the line here this evening. You've got a couple of drivers making their Whelen Modified Tour debut. We're in the middle of a championship battle with just 3 races left to go in the season. And then you've got a whole bunch of drivers like Burt Myers, who would love to add his name to the Myers family tradition at this racetrack and be able to get a victory here like the rest of his family has done before him, and be a 3rd-generation driver to be able to win at North Wilkesboro Speedway. He's got one thing on his mind, and that is to go to victory lane here tonight. He's not in the battle for the championship, but he's a 2-time Southern Whelen Modified Tour champion. He knows how to race in this format, and this race car that he's driving tonight, this #1 Citrus Safe Cleaners entry, was a car that they raced very early in the season in a local modified series here in North Carolina, and then they put the car up on jack stands to get it ready for this race. Burt Myers and this entire team have been preparing many, many hours and many, many months just for this moment to be able to race here at North Wilkesboro and have their equipment as ready as possible. This racetrack steeped in the history of short track racing and the history of NASCAR as we celebrate the 75th season of NASCAR. You look around this racetrack, you can see the original chairback seats still in place. Many of the buildings the same as they were when they stopped racing here in 1996. Even some of the concrete that leads up the stairs of those bleacher seating here at the racetrack still wearing some of the paint that it had on the original days. They've allowed this racetrack to keep the nostalgic feel that it had when NASCAR ran its 93 Cup Series races here at this track. And in fact, this was a track that in the 1949 season was the last track on the schedule and where Red Byron was crowned NASCAR's first champion. At the time, it was a strictly stock division. And tonight, it's moving on here with the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. So many stories, so much history here at this racetrack that we'll talk about as the evening goes on. The field just about set here along the front straightaway. We'll have our local public address announcer here, Derek Perniciglio, a long-time pit reporter for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. He is on hand here tonight, and we'll introduce to you the starting lineup for tonight's Brushy Mountain Powersports 150 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Until then, this racetrack, very, very abrasive. You can see the patching on the racetrack. That's where they've made some repairs to the facility. That's got a little bit of extra grip on it. But everything that's in light gray, very, very abrasive, like a 40 grit sandpaper on the track. Let's go trackside for driver introductions in the Brushy Mountain Motorsports Powersports 150 at North Wilkesboro.
In the 18th row, starting in the 36th position, it'll be Andrew Kraus out of Homedale, New Jersey, the Supreme Manufacturing sponsored entry. And on the inside of him, it'll be the number 4 from Endicott, New York, the Mystic Missile of Tim Connolly.
Row 17 on the outside is the car number 59 from Boston, Massachusetts, Britt Meservey, and to his inside the 06 of Sam Ramo from Westminster, Massachusetts.
In the 16th row, it will be Jamie the Jet Tomeno from Howell, New Jersey, starting 32nd, the 1990 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour champion. And to the inside of him, in the Pine Knoll Auto Sales, number 01 out of Wakefield, New Hampshire, it'll be Melissa Feifeld.
15th row on the outside, driver number 26, Gary McDonald, comes to us from Ronkonkoma, New York, and to his inside, Ken Hagee from Calverton, New York, in the 18.
In row 14, it'll be Chase Dowling in the 28th spot, and the number 17, the Extreme Auto Body sponsored entry. And on the inside of him, it'll be 2010 Whelen Modified Tour champion Bobby Santos III from Franklin, Massachusetts.
26th place starter this evening, drives car number 28 out of Thompson, Connecticut. It's John Michael Chenette. And to his left side, the 34 out of Holtzville, New York, is J.B. Fortin.
In row number 12, in the 24th position, he won the championship at Bowman Gray Stadium. He pilots the 04 from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's Brandon Ward. And to the inside of him, out of Ontario, New York, driving the FX Caprara sponsored number 54, it'll be Tommy Catalano.
Row number 11, the first one on the outside is the 20 of Eddie McCarthy out of Brick, New Jersey. And to his inside, one of 2 racing Bonsignors tonight. The double deuce, the 22 out of Bayshore, New York, is Kyle Bonsignor.
Row number 10 finds the 20th spot belonging to Eric Goodell from Riverhead, Long Island, New York, the GAF roofing entry. And on the inside of him, Burt Myers out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina, the Citrusade Cleaners sponsored number 1.
Row number 9. You'll see the red number 5, Kyle Ebersol out of Hummelstown, Pennsylvania. And in the number 92, Anthony Nacella out of Woburn, Massachusetts.
In row number 8, starting in the 16th spot, it'll be the 21 of Jacob Perry out of Stonington, Connecticut, the Royal Screw Machine sponsored entry. And on the inside of him, it's Sapienza Enterprises sponsored number 36 machine for Dave Sapienza from Riverhead, Long Island, New York.
The 14th place starter is Anthony Sesley out of Mattawa, New Jersey in the 19 car. And to his inside, driving car number 70 from Hempstead, New Hampshire, it's Andy Seiss.
In row number 16, it'll be the 2011 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour champion, Ron Silk from Norwalk, Connecticut. And on the inside of him, Daytona 500 winner and winner of one of the racetrack revival races here last year in the Pace-O-Matic sponsored number 39, it'll be Ryan Newman.
Now your top 10. Starting in the 10th spot, out of Owego, New York, in the number 32, it's Tyler Ripkema. And in his inside of the 9th spot, former NASCAR Cup Series champion from Corpus Christi, Texas, the 38, is Bobby Labonte.
In row number 4, it'll be third-generation driver Carson Lofton in the L&R transmission-sponsored entry. And in the 7th spot, it'll be the number 7NY. Tommy Baldwin Jr. is the car owner. The Mayhew Tools is the sponsor of the number 7 of 6-time champion Doug Coby.
Old Blue going to roll from P6, the number 3, driven by Jake Johnson from Rehoboth, Massachusetts. And to his inside, the 82 tonight is driven by Miller Place, New York's Craig Lutz.
In row number 2, starting in the 4th spot, he's a 3-time champion, looking for his 4th this year. Out of Holtzville, Long Island, New York, it's the number 51 of Justin Bonsignor. And in the 3rd position, recently won the 73rd annual Race of Champions in the Advantage Trucks number 14 machine. It'll be Patrick Emmerling from Orchard Park, New York.
A pair of Keystone State natives on the front row. On the outside, in car number 60, you may know him as Money, it's Matt Hirschman. And on the pole, also from Northampton, Pennsylvania, in the number 64, say hello, North Wilkesboro, to Austin Beers.
And that is your field for 150 laps. Let's throw it down to Tim Quinn, our Grand Marshal, with the command to fire engines.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the excellent team at Brushy Mountain Powersports, gentlemen, start your engines!
The field comes to life. The inaugural NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour race.
38 strong for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, ready to take on the North Wilkesboro Speedway for the very first time in the Brushy Mountain Powersports 150. An outstanding crowd. They have been enthusiastic. The entire community here in North Wilkesboro excited to see modified racing return, and tonight is going to be quite the race with 38 modifieds on hand. 6 tires for these drivers to be able to take on pit road. It'll be a strategy game. It'll be a game that will require the best of patience of these drivers as they navigate such an aggressive and abrasive racetrack. We even have a NASCAR Cup Series champion and Hall of Famer in the field today, and drivers like the regulars, Austin Beers and Matt Hirschman, looking to fend off some of the southern drivers that are trying to defend their home turf from some of the northern invaders here at North Wilkesboro. Earlier today, we had a practice session, 2 in fact, and among the quickest in practice was Austin Beers. He backed it up with a pole qualifying run. Jesse Punch had an opportunity to catch up with him right after his qualifying lap.
We're pretty confident. I mean, we worked on the long run all day in practice, put down a pretty good lap when we did our mock, and I got a little loose over there in turn 1 on the first lap. I only planned to run 1 lap because of just the tire fall off. So once I got loose in turn 1, I thought we were screwed, but you know, we just had another good lap there, and I didn't think it was that good of a lap, but my spotter said, good lap, you got the pole. I was pretty shocked. So hopefully we're good for 150 laps, have some good pit stops like our crew's been having, and be there at the end.
Field begins to roll. You heard Austin Beers talk about that opening qualifying lap. One of his crew chiefs, Sly Zabin, walked away thinking that there was a problem because Austin Beers just eased out of the gas on the back straightaway, refocused, got that car rolling once again, and was able to, on 1 lap, put in a flyer lap to earn his 6th Mayhew Tools pole of the 2023 season. He'll lead him around to the green flag. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's Brushy Mountain Powersports 150 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Austin Beers, for the 6th time this season on the pole position from Northampton, Pennsylvania, lines up alongside Matt Hirschman, 2-time winner here this season, and a winner at the Racetrack Revival held here a year ago in modified competition at North Wilkesboro. Patrick Emmerling in a different ride this weekend. He's driving for Joe Stearns in the number 14 car, lines up third alongside Justin Bonsignore, three-time series champion and the point leader. Craig Lutz gets his best qualifying effort of the season. He'll start fifth here today alongside rookie contender Jake Johnson in Old Blue, car number 3. Seventh starter, Doug Coby, Milford, Connecticut, six-time series champion, lines up alongside Carson Lofton, who makes his debut in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, just 15 years old. The 2000 NASCAR Cup Series champion is Bobby Labonte. He drives a 38 alongside Tyler Ripkema, starting 10th tonight. Ryan Newman is in the field, four-time winner of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, and Tyler Ripkema. Ron Silk, the 2011 series champion. Andy Seiss, the former champion of the Southern Whelen Modified Tour, starts 13th alongside Anthony Cecily. Dave Zapienza is back from Riverhead, New York, along with Jacob Perry starting 16th in row 8. Anthony Nocella starts 17th, and Kyle Ebersol from Homestead, Pennsylvania, will start 18th. Burt Myers here today to try to put his name in the history books at North Wilkesboro, a two-time Southern Whelen Modified Tour champion in his own right, lining up with Eric Goodale, who just raced the 602 Crate Modified race just a few moments ago. Kyle Bonsignore starts 21st tonight, Langley Speedway winner, alongside Eddie McCarthy, who came away with a top 5 at his home track at Wall Stadium. Tommy Catalano starts 23rd, Brandon Ward, the champion at Bowman Gray Stadium, 24th, J.B. Fortin, 25th. John Michael Sinet making his second modified start with the Tour of the season in 26. Bobby Santos will start deep in the field tonight. 2010 series champion rolls off from 27th, and Chase Dowling 28th. Ken Hagee will start 29th alongside Gary McDonald. And your final starters, Melissa Fifield and Jamie Tomeno, who returns to the competition for his first start of the 2023 campaign. Take a look at the race analysis for tonight. 150 laps, a 5/8 mile racetrack, 69 degrees under clear skies here in North Wilkesboro. Teams will have 6 tires on pit road that they can change, and they will use every bit of it on a very abrasive racetrack. A packed house here tonight in North Carolina, and they will wave the crowd off, raid these cars off, as they have been given the 1 to go signal as the field rolls through turns 1 and 2. Let's go down to pit road and get an update from Jesse Punch.
Joe, I caught up with the first and second place in points, Ron Silk and Justin Bonsignore, before the race, and they left off on a bit of a tense note after last race at Riverhead. Both drivers said they have not spoken to each other or tried to speak to each other since before last race. Ron says there's nothing to talk about. We both know what happened. And Justin said, look, I'm just going to race him how he races me. 3 races left in the season, only 3 points separating these two. A lot of tension between the 51 and the 16. Keep an eye on them tonight.
Thanks, Jesse. For the first time in the history of the Whelen Modified Tour, the green flag is waving at North Wilkesboro, and we are underway. And the Brushy Mountain Powersports 150. Lap 1, Austin Beers leads the way. The 2 drivers that live on Bud Lane in Northampton, Pennsylvania, he and Matt Hirschman neighbors, lead this race first and second. Series point leader Justin Bonsignore into third, but here is Patrick Emmerling driving a number 14 car here this weekend. This is Joe Stearns modified that was driven by both Chuck Hosfeld and Bobby Santos earlier this season. Patrick Emmerling runs that 14 car in other modified series up in Western New York, and they had that opportunity to slide this race in the middle of his NASCAR Xfinity Series schedule. And Patrick very excited about the opportunity to run here at a quick car in the first practice session today. He led that session, backed it up with a solid qualifying effort, started inside the top 5. Racing alongside Jake Johnson to the outside. Emmerling sneaks on through to the bottom, looking to bring Craig Lutz on through in the 82 car. Lutz in that 82 have had quite the turnaround over the past couple of races. They've got the crew chief that worked with John McKennedy in the championship run in 2022 at the beginning of the season before McKennedy and the 79 team parted ways just a handful of races in. Danny Watts in his final year as a car owner of that 82 Whelen Modified Tour, and Craig Lutz showing a tremendous amount of speed as he puts a move to the inside of Patrick Emmerling and moves into the 4th spot for the 82 car. Doug Coby, 70 York, back in the field as well, getting some pressure from behind. Bobby Labonte and Ryan Newman, the 2 teammates there. Labonte working the inside groove of the racetrack. Off turn 2. For a racetrack that's very abrasive on tires, Craig Lutz is not holding anything back. He has now moved up a couple of spots from his 5th place starting position, now to move inside the 3rd position. That team running on a borrowed motor. They borrowed a motor from Steve Mendoza, who fields a car in the Whelen Modified Tour out of the New Hampshire area. They were able to go up to Richie Evans' stop and pick up that motor. Shop very similar to how it was set up when Richie raced out of it. Danny grabbed that motor, and it seems like it's powering them to a pretty strong run here so far. There's Bobby Labonte on the back bumper of the 70 York of Doug Coby. Right behind him, Ryan Newman. Labonte actually raced in this race in the NASCAR Cup Series in 1996, the last time they had a point-paying race here at North Wilkesboro. That was before the All-Star race was run here in May. That was won by Kyle Larson. They'll be back again in 2024, and this racetrack will be repaved. So this will be one of the last races that they will run on this aged surface here that was laid down in the 1980s. But Bobby Labonte was a driver that raced for Joe Gibbs Racing when he drove the number 18 car here in the NASCAR Cup Series. He said, just about everything about North Wilkesboro has changed with one exception. The racetrack is as abrasive as it ever was. He says he was a bit nervous about how his car would handle out here and how it would be impacted by that abrasive racetrack, but so far having a good solid run inside the top 10 as Coby is able to sneak underneath Jake Johnson in the 3 car. That opens up the inside lane to Bobby Labonte to see if he can do the same as he pulls to the bottom off turn 4. His teammate Ryan Newman right behind, working the bottom lane of the racetrack, able to get underneath Jake Johnson, trying to bring Andy Seiss right along with him. But there's a car around in turns 3 and 4, and the first caution is out. 12 laps in. It's Gary Putnam in the 77 car. Caution is out. Lap 13 at North Wilkesboro. Austin Beers shows the way. Gary Putnam pointing in the wrong direction. First caution of the night in that 77 car. Looks like he's got a little bit of damage to the left rear of that race car. Gets it rolling once again. Looks to be able to continue on. We were talking about Bobby Labonte and the history that he had racing here in the NASCAR Cup Series. In 1996, Gary Putnam was a crew member for Ricky Craven when he drove the 41 car. He was a tire carrier that day. Ironically enough, he was carrying tires for Tommy Baldwin, who was a car owner in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And for a long time, Gary Putnam has been associated with Kevin Bono Mannion, also a driver, crew chief, well known in the NASCAR Cup Series. Kevin Bono Mannion was an undercar mechanic on that same car back in 1996. The 3 of them lived together. They had moved down from the Northeast, came down to North Carolina to pursue a career in NASCAR, and all 3 of them became quite successful. Gary Putnam rather, had a great year with Jamie McMurray winning the Daytona 500, the Brickyard 400 in the same year. We've well documented on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour how Tommy Baldwin was not only a car owner but a champion in the Daytona 500 with Warren Burton. And Kevin Bono Mannion has accomplished so much in the sport as well. And that 3 story came through North Wilkesboro in 1996, his very first year on the circuit. And he said, if I got the opportunity to go and race modifieds at this racetrack, I am going to take advantage of it. And he certainly has, rather than putting drivers like Max McLaughlin or John McKennedy in that car like he had earlier this season. Tim Conley on pit road. 9-time winner of the Whelen Modified Tour Series. Back in action here again. Team looking to make a bit of an adjustment to the chassis on his race car. Get Tim back out on the course. Nobody else coming down pit road here under this caution. get service. And one other modified coming in. It's going to be the 99 of Jamie Tomato. Will also come down and get some adjustments here early on. In talking with many of the teams and drivers before this race, they thought that the cars would last about 50 laps on tires. We're only 12 laps of green flag action so far here tonight. And so many are trying to plot out a strategy around it. They've got 6 tires on pit road that they can change should the opportunity present itself. And most teams are going to try to go and do that. There'll be a lot of different options that they can go through. Modified racing, typically you'll change 3 tires. That left front tire really doesn't do all that much work on these modified cars, but there are some teams that may try a strategy of taking 4 tires at one point, taking 2 rear tires at another point. Some will go 3 and 3 on their 2 pit stops, but there'll be a couple of different plays. So this race is very much going to be a strategy race as the evening rolls on. A couple more cars coming down pit road. Bobby Santos in the 44 car started pretty deep in the field back in 27. Good opportunity for him to come down pit lane, make adjustments to his race car, and continue on. So Gary Putnam did lose a lap with his spin that brought us out under the first caution. Just about set to get back under the green flag again. Austin Beers on the inside lane. Matt Hirschman to the outside. They'll see the green flag. It'll be lap number 18. And the Brushy Mountain Powersports 150 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour at North Wilkesboro Speedway. As they roll up off turn number 4, looking for the Geico restart zone. Green flag flies from Bob Slade, and we're back underway at North Wilkesboro. Austin Beers able to get away, and Craig Lutz continuing to show the speed on that number 82 car. Will slide in and take over second. Hirschman back to third. And now Bonsignor works the inside lane underneath Doug Covey, who loses a spot in both he and Patrick Emerly. Covey back down to the bottom to protect the inside lane in the advance of Bobby Labonte. Labonte up to the back bumper of Covey, go a little bit further back. Ryan Newman in the other yellow and black car. That's the 39. Doing battle with Jake Johnson as Tyler Ripcom picks up the spot behind them at 32. Getting by Andy Seiss. Newman to the bottom of Jake Johnson. Jake Johnson has had some pretty solid runs on racetracks that require you to be patient, but when he walks up the racetrack in turns 3 and 4, overdrove it just a little bit and gave up a spot. Johnson again shuffled out of line up in turn 2, goes way up the hill. You know, this racetrack is pretty unique. Enoch Staley built this racetrack back in 1949, and as time went, he ran out of the funds to complete the racetrack. And as because of that, going down into turn 1 is a downhill corner, and as you climb up out of turn 2, it's uphill down the back straightaway into turn number 3. And drivers will tell you it is very easy to overdrive turn 1 because you're carrying so much more speed on the downhill than you expect. And then similarly, as you're going uphill into turn 3, you figure that the banking, the hill will protect you a little bit and slow your car down, and it often doesn't. But Jake Johnson's got his hands full. You can see that car continuing to walk up the racetrack as his car starting to backpedal in the outside lane, and now 23 laps in, you can see the tires starting to give up on that 3 car. His car skating around, losing position after position after position. Jacob Perry now working to the inside of him. Smoke coming from the right side of John Michael Chenette in the 28 car. He makes a second start in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour of the season. Gary Putnam trying to get to the inside as that smoke continues to get larger for the 28 car. Back up front, Austin Beers with a 2-car length advantage over Craig Lutz. Early in the season, Austin Beers said, we need to take every race day in a section. Focus on practice, do as well as we can. Focus on qualifying, do as well as we can there. And then take the race. Well, he tried that strategy earlier this year at the Richmond Raceway, where he was quickest in practice, won the pole, won the race. Today, he had a similar pattern, back to what he had done early in the season to get his first career Whelen Modified Tour victory. Austin Beers showing that pace early. They had some challenges earlier in the season around the strength and speed of their pit stops. They were making some mistakes on pit road, and they've cleaned that up. The last race at the Riverhead Raceway, they got a little bit better on pit road. If it wasn't for being locked into their pit stall, they had one of their quickest stops all season long. They're going to need that here tonight. There is Jean-Michael Chenette down on pit road. Window net is down in frustration for the general contractor out of Thompson, Connecticut, who now lives in North Carolina, as smoke billowing out the right side of that number 28 car. It's Doug Covey in the 70 York, continuing to work over the back bumper of Patrick Emmerling in the 14. Covey was a driver who won at the Myrtle Beach Speedway when the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour raced there, and had a tremendous success by playing the race strategy the right way. Not only was he able to manage the tires on an abrasive racetrack, but they chose when to pit at the right time, and he came out on top. But even that, Covey today was a little bit cautious on how he thought this race would play out, because rarely we have 2 practice sessions for the modifieds, but tonight they did. And he said with so many different agendas in practice, it was hard to tell where his car would stack up as the race goes on. You can see Labonte getting sideways and loose as he got back to the accelerator off turn 2 on the back straightaway. Ryan Newman right behind him in the 39 car. Look at Newman's victories in this series. They came at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. They came at Bristol Motor Speedway. 4 in total in modified competition. Now North Wilkesboro Speedway under the SMI family of racetracks. And those are the tracks, the ownership that Newman has won under. See him working that bottom lane of the racetrack under Bobby Labonte. Notably in turn 1, you can see at the very bottom of the racetrack, and to some extent here in turns 3 and 4, that extra strip of asphalt that they've got on the bottom of the track. That's got a little bit more grip. The gray part of the racetrack is like a 40 grit sandpaper, but the black part of the racetrack is closer to maybe a 600 or an 800 grit sandpaper, so not as abrasive on those tires. And the transition to the racetrack right there, just with that banking ever so slight, allowing the cars to pivot and turn at the entrance of the corner. You see right now Ryan Newman, his car is starting to come to life here 35 laps into the run, as he is starting to track down the battle right here between Doug Covey and Patrick Emmerling, and that is the battle for the 6th spot. Newman reeling into the back bumper, pulls underneath Patrick Emmerling. The challenge now for 7th as Covey is on through for 6th. Emmerling's car slides up the racetrack, and Ryan Newman able to pick up a spot. McDonald down at the bottom. Emmerling's car is starting to fade here a little bit. You go back a little bit further, you see Tyler Ripkema and Ronnie Silk. Silk, who had one battle with Justin Bonsignor at the Riverhead Raceway, coming up just short. The 2 drivers beating and banging on each other multiple times over the past couple of laps. Both Ron Silk and Justin Bonsignor have not discussed what happened at Riverhead. They haven't spoken in the 2 weeks since. Bonsignor running right now in the 4th spot on the racetrack, and those 2 drivers are really tonight focused on racing each other. There's a championship battle in the middle of several other drivers that are not regulars in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Drivers like Bobby Labonte, Ryan Newman, and even Burt Myers, one of the Southern favorites here. In both the 16 team, Ronnie Silk and that group, and the 51 team, Justin Bonsignor and that team. So we're going to focus on one thing, and that one thing is going to be staying pace with each other, being conservative, and keeping an eye on the final 2 races of the season, as they are now only 1 point separated in the championship standings between the 51 of Bonsignor and the 16 of Ronnie Silk. Story under the story. Lap traffic starting to become a bit of a factor. You can see in the turns, the rubber just and the marbles is coming off of those cars, and caution is out because the 4 car of Tim Conley into the outside wall on the front straightaway after contact with Doug Covey. Second caution of the night comes out on lap number 41 here in North Wilkesboro. Austin Beers has led the entire way. He's still out in front. And the Brushy Mountain Powersports 150 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Get a look at what happened here. Tim Conley, the lap car, goes to the outside while Matt Hirschman and Justin Bonsignor go underneath. Kobe on the straightaway comes up ever so slightly. The two make contact, the left front tire to the right rear Nerf bar of Doug Kobe. And that sent Tim Conley into the outside wall. And you can see that right front tire took quite a hit, pointed in the wrong direction. Both tires pointed in opposite direction for Tim Conley. Here's a look at it. Down the straightaway. And ever so slight contact between those two cars sends Conley hard into the outside wall. The second caution flag of the night is out, and this is one of those interesting spots. The strategy of this one here will probably be pretty close to lap 50 when we get back under the green flag. And with 6 change tires and 2 opportunities for pit stops down on pit lane, this is going to be a great opportunity for teams to come down and get service. Pit stalls here at North Wilkesboro pretty wide, plenty of room for these teams to work. And they will certainly become a factor as soon as pit road is open down at the bottom of turn 3. Oh, a couple of cars coming in, but a couple of cars staying out, and among them the race leader, Austin Beers, will stay out, as does Craig Lutz, who's running in second at the time, but both Matt Hirschman and Justin Bonsignor will come down pit road. Ron Silk will stay out, so your championship leaders are going to be on a different sequence of pit stops. Pit stops lap 44. It will follow the stop of Matt Hirschman. Team coming around, they'll change rear tires. Bottom right corner, that is Justin Bonsignor and his team. Looks to be a 3-tire stop for the 51. Ryan Stone calling the shots. And it looks like they're going to put scuffed tires on that 51. Matt Hirschman will get a pair of scuffed tires to the rear of his number 60 car. And he is down and away with a pretty clean pit stop. And it's going to be Hirschman who's going to win the race off of pit road. So, of note, Matt Hirschman, 2 tires only for Matt Hirschman. Takes 2 rear tires, so he's still got 4 back in pit road. Eric Goodale on pit road. Justin Bonsignor on pit road. Other cars that come down pit road included Burt Myers is on pit road. Kyle Bonsignor, Carson Lofton, Brandon Ward, and J.B. Fortin all came down pit road here under the second caution of the night. What is interesting about this call is Kyle Ebersol getting service for his number 5 car is what I mentioned around the 51 of Justin Bonsignor being on a different pit sequence now than the 16 car of Ron Silk. And that was one of the things that Justin told me before the race began, is that we want to be conservative and try to make sure that we match the strategy of the 16 car. So at least from a championship standpoint, that we don't get too far out of sync. You've got to look at it this way. With 38 cars in the field here tonight, a bad night on such a close championship battle here tonight could turn into something where you don't have enough time to make it up in the next 2 races at Thompson and at Martinsville. And so these 2 drivers really are racing each other more than anything tonight as they try to work and navigate the strategy of not only this race, but also the season. But Justin Bonsignor has made his play. Ryan Stone, the crew chief, decides to go 3 tires. Phil Moran, crew chief for the 16 of Ronnie Silk. They'll leave him out there a little bit longer on the same strategy as the race leader, the 64 of Austin Beers. We'll see how it all plays out. Racetrack just about clear and ready to go back under the green flag. A couple of the lap down cars coming in for service. Some others back on pit road, including Kyle Bonsignor, J.B. Fortin, Anthony Nocella coming back down a second time. Here's a good look at the 23 car that was on track towards the tail end of the field of Carson Lofton, 15-year-old driver making his first Whelen Modified Tour start here today. Larson in the 23, second-generation drivers. Dad Brian Lofton, well known in modified racing here in North Carolina. Carson, a sophomore at North Davidson High School. gave up basketball to focus on racing, and very talented driver, laid down a very good qualifying lap earlier today, and looking to have a good solid run here tonight at North Wilkesboro on that 23 car, running 18th at the moment in his modified debut. Go ahead and run through the lineup for you here. At the front of the field, you see the Jake Johnson, number 3. His car was skating all over the racetrack. He's back in the 27th position, but he will be the beneficiary and get the free pass when the green flag comes back out. Austin Beer is the race leader. Craig Lutz 2nd. Doug Covey rides 3rd. Ryan Newman is 4th. His teammate Bobby Labonte did pit under that last opportunity when the leaders came down pit road. Patrick Emmerling is 5th. Ron Silk now 6th. 7th for Tyler Ripkema. Dave Zapienza is 8th. Anthony Cecily is 9th, and Andrew Kraus runs in 10th. Running in the 11th spot, the red number 54 is Tommy Catalano. And Catalano and that team did not have a very strong qualifying effort. They qualified back in the 23rd spot, the 54 of Catalano, but they had a very different approach to how they took practice earlier today. They went out once in the first practice. They did a 70-lap run with their focus being on long run speed. They went out in the second practice and did another 70-lap run and calculated the time that they would lose under those long runs. And right now, that strategy of staying out on the racetrack has landed him inside the top 11 as he has picked up quite a few spots on this round of pit stops and throughout his strategy. We'll see if that plays out in a very different mindset for that team. Getting ready to get back under the green flag here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Austin Beer is on the bottom along with Craig Lutz, who continues to have a strong run to the outside lane. Green flag flies once again. Austin Beer is on old tires. Sees Doug Covey right behind him, and they're back to the bottom of turn 1. Beers gets away with the race lead, and Covey now rallies to second to the inside. Ryan Newman looking outside, and Craig Lutz in turn 3. Nothing happening there. Emmerling looks to the bottom. Could not fill the gap, and Ryan Newman is going to be able to hold on to the 4th spot. Emmerling back to 5th, and Ron Silk now in the 6th spot, looking inside turn 3 underneath Emmerling. Everybody from about 7th on back, stacked up 2 by 2 after this restart as they flash by the start-finish line 52 laps in. Some drivers on new tires, some drivers on older tires, and Ron Silk able to hold off the hard-charging Patrick Emmerling, and Patrick looks at the rearview mirrors. You see the 32 of Tyler Ripkema, who's having a strong night tonight, running in 7th. That car normally runs well on large and super speedway style tracks. A couple of the cars that came down pit road, Matt Hirschman in a 60, Justin Monsignor, Burt Myers all on pit road, and Brandon Ward in the 04 car. This year's champion at the Bowman Gray Stadium in the Modifieds was his first championship in the series. He said earlier today he wants to run 4 Whelen Modified Tour races. Eric Goodale in the 58, battling with the 38 of Bobby Labonte deeper in the track as they got out of shape on the front stretch. Good action deep in the field. Matt Hirschman on those fresh tires is up to 10th. Bonsignor 11th and Burt Myers in 12th, the farthest forward he has been all night long. Brandon Ward right there as well. Both Myers and Ward ran in the racetrack revival in August of 2022 when the Modifieds were the first division to run with the newly restored North Wilkesboro Speedway. One of those 2 feature events was won by Matt Hirschman, who rides directly in front of them in 10th. But Hirschman said earlier in the day, the racetrack has changed so much with the patching that they have put in place that it really hasn't helped them other than a couple of laps early on, to get a feel for the racetrack. But beyond that, this race course here tonight, very different than it was a year ago. But laps at a racetrack that is more than anybody else in the field certainly gives them a little bit of an advantage of what they would have here tonight. Hirschman working underneath Tyler Ripkema. Move up another spot. Ripkema skating backwards, 4 tires on tires, able to sneak by him and get through. We see as this run goes a little bit longer, these fresh tires starting to pay off. Patrick Emmerling as both Matt Hirschman and Justin Bonsignor quickly bearing down on him. Emmerling will go to the bottom. Hirschman through to the outside lane. Bonsignor around the top of Patrick Emmerling. That's going to move Hirschman into the 6th spot. And he's going to work now to the inside of Craig Lutz. So Hirschman slicing and dicing his way through the field. And there's a lot of crew chiefs down on pit road that are looking how quickly these drivers can work through the field on new tires. So it came down to a race with 25 laps to go, 30 laps to go. How deep in the field can you be running when you take those tires and still be able to work up through the field? That's one thing we'll keep an eye on here on this run. And how far can Matt Hirschman get forward? Many of the strategy plays for this one were going to be focused on track position, staying out in front. And now allowing your car to slide backwards. But the early pit call by Hirschman and Bonsignor is testing that assumption. Kyle Ebersol on tires underneath the 82 car of Craig Lutz, who is backpedaling. Here's the 44 of Santos, who's been on pit road a couple of times tonight. Gets underneath. Emmerling now to the bottom. J.B. Fortin is there. Bobby Labonte as well. Up front, Austin Beers continues to show the way. 63 laps in. And the battle now for second between Doug Coby and Matt Hirschman. Hirschman already quickly on the heels. Pulls to the inside of the front straightaway, does Hirschman in the battle for second. And sneaks on through underneath Doug Coby. Now is Justin Bonsignor right to the back bumper. Looks inside, lap traffic ahead. Gary McDonald to the bottom. Bonsignor thinks twice. He doesn't want a repeat of what happened at Oswego, where he drove into the back of Gary McDonald, running inside the top 3. It cost him an opportunity to run for the victory that day. Beers under attack. And for the first time today, Austin Beers has a challenge for the race lead, and it doesn't last long as Matt Hirschman will take over the top spot. As he comes across the line, it'll be 66 laps into tonight's event. And Hirschman, with those new tires, able to open up a slight advantage, but you'd have to think he's going to put it on cruise control. Doug Coby goes spinning in turn 1. And it looks like he backs it into the inside concrete wall in turn 2. He's got the car rolling once again, but Coby brings out the 3rd caution of the night with a spin in the middle of turns 1 and 2. While battling for the 3rd position on the racetrack. The crowd reacting here at North Wilkesboro to see that 70 York of Coby go spinning in turns 1 and 2. They were battling not only with lap traffic. Justin Bonsignor was in the middle of that. Let's take a look at what happened. Bonsignor had just gotten through. Coby was battling back. Burt Myers was directly behind. 3 wide on the straightaway into turn number 1, and Coby's car just steps out from underneath, and he goes around. Get another look at it here. To the right of your frame, Coby already spinning as they went into the banking of turn 1. And it looked like he didn't actually hit the concrete on that inside of the racetrack, and that, just by the way the hill is there in turn 2, backed up quite a bit. Coby was able to grab a gear and rejoin behind Craig Lutz, and he's shown in 16th in the running order. And with 68 laps complete, Matt Hirschman already has a round of tires. You'd have to think that you'll see the 64 car on pit road and the 16 car on pit road who did not stop, and Ryan Newman among some of the cars that did not come down pit road last time through. So this will certainly change the running order here, but pit road will be pretty empty for a lot of these drivers at the front of the field. Should allow them an opportunity to get a pretty clean pit stop. Ryan Newman will be one of the first cars to hit his pit stall just off of turn number 4. And it looks like Newman in that 39 team will go for a 3-tire stop. 16 car. Ron Silk is on pit road. Looks like 3 tires for this team. Bill Moran going with a 3-tire stop. will save 3 tires for the end of the race. 69 laps in. Austin Beers will do a 3-tire stop as well. Frame left after leading 66 laps to this one. A clean stop for the 16 car of Ron Silk, but Austin Beers had the #1 pit stall. He will win the race off of pit road. 3 tires for the 64 of Beers, 3 tires for the 16 of Ron Silk. And they will rejoin at the tail end of the field, and that'll leave the race lead in the hands of Matt Hirschman, who's out in front. Justin Bonsignor, who gathered that track position back. And this is where that strategy of being on different plays, we've got a loose tire down on pit road. Really rolled up the banking in turn 1. NASCAR official will go out, roll that back down to pit road, and it's off the 82 of Craig Lutz, that right rear dragging on the ground. Tough break for Lutz, who had such a good run going. He came down pit road. He was going to lose a lot of track position as it was, but that tire bouncing across the racetrack is not going to do him any favor. That brake rotor really digging into the racetrack as it rolls on the bottom of that modified. Might have been able to get away with it if it was just the chassis grinding, but matter of fact, it might just be the chassis grinding. It looks like the suspension is knocked off it. He's knocked the right rear shock off the 82 car, and they're going to wave him off. What a heartbreak for the 82 of Craig Lutz. You can see that Graco shock there on the right rear. That shock mount broke, and Craig Lutz, with a tire coming off of his number 82 car, is going to spoil what was a pretty solid run for him out of Miller Place, New York. Danny Watts and the entire team. It is not meant to be for the 82 car. You see the heartbreak of Craig Lutz. That team had focused on race pace today, but still laid down a very good qualifying lap to start 5th. But the damage just too severe for them to be able to get that repaired down here on pit road and allow him to continue tonight. So frustration for Lutz. Here's how they run on the racetrack. Matt Hirschman is the race leader. Justin Bonsignor is 2nd. Burt Myers 3rd. Brandon Ward and Andy Seiss, your top 5. Kyle Bonsignor is 6th. Bobby Santos, after starting deep, worked strategy to his advantage to move up to 7th. JB Fort in 8th. Bobby Labonte now 9th. And Sammy Ramu running inside the top 10. The field has been given the 1 to go signals. They come across the line this time by. It'll be lap 73, just a couple of laps shy of the halfway point. When they get the green flags, they'll have 2 laps to go before halfway. Now, Justin Bonsignor talks often about getting that extra lap, extra point for leading a lap. And he's got an opportunity to do so here in a very tight championship battle that had his lead ever so slightly. It'll be lap 73 when the green flag flies again at North Wilkesboro. The race leader, Matt Hirschman, on the bottom. Fires first. Green flag is out. And Justin Bonsignor in 2nd. The battle now for 3rd. Here is Burt Myers working the inside of Brandon Ward. Side by side for 2nd. Myers in the 1, Ward to the outside of the 04. Ward loses a spot, opens up the door to the inside for Andy Seiss. Seiss kicking up dust to the bottom of turn 1, and he comes together with Ward. Ward gets sideways, the field stacks up behind him. Santos down to the apron. He'll lose a handful of spots. Andy Seiss loses a handful of spots, and the outside has momentum as they come off turn 4. Here's the 38 car of Labonte. Working inside. Austin Beers behind has led 66 laps tonight. 3 new tires for him, starting to take advantage of that as he rolls through the field to the bottom. Picks up a spot underneath Sammy Ramu. Everling as well. In the 14 car, caution is back out. Jacob Perry has spun to the bottom of turns 3 and 4 in the 21 car, and that'll bring out the caution for the 4th time tonight. So just past halfway, Matt Hirschman will pick up the Phil Kerrs Justin's halfway bonus for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Jacob Perry able to grab a gear and get that car rolling once again. So just a handful of laps, Austin Beers was able to roll back up to the 8th position. The car that is furthest along. You got to love the history at North Wilkesboro Speedway. They've got a fancy pylon here in the infield, but some things just stay the same. The leaderboard here in turn 3 of the racetrack. Got to change the numbers by hand. So much tradition here at North Wilkesboro. You look at the first race that was run here was a modified race. When they came back as part of the racetrack revival back in August of last year, it was a modified race that welcomed the return of action here at this racetrack. And now fitting tonight that the inaugural running of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour under the NASCAR banner here in the 75th season of NASCAR. And they ran the first race here in 1949. And the history here at this part of the country steeped throughout all level of NASCAR modifies short track racing at a track that at its time was one of the fastest racetracks in NASCAR competition. But the tracks got bigger, the crowds got bigger, and North Wilkesboro for a time got left behind. But this year came back. The NASCAR All-Star Race will be back again in 2024. They'll repave this racetrack after this event, and it'll be a new day. They'll have the Craftsman Truck Series here in the 2024 season again, and somebody will try to figure out how to beat Kyle Larson, who swept both of those events earlier this season. But North Wilkesboro Speedway in short track racing is alive once again in Wilkes County, and the entire community here, whether it's down at the local diner, the gas station, convenience store, knew about this race. They were excited about this event, open wheel modified competition, and seeing this facility back to life here in the month of September. And alluded to it earlier in the broadcast, with the span that the Wheel Modified Tour teams and drivers have on their schedule. Sometimes for the crew members, it is difficult to make all the different races. You go from Florida at New Smyrna Speedway as work is being done on the 17th car for Chase Dowling, the front bumper. You go out to Western New York, Lancaster, and Oswego, up to New Hampshire and beyond. And sometimes not all the crew members can make it. And every crew I talked to, I asked, do you have all your regular crew guys with you? And just about all of them said yes, because everybody wanted to be part of this very special race, indicative by the 38 cars that showed up here this weekend to be able to run this race, and the strategy, the crowd, all very supportive of this particular event. And we are just past halfway, and I think a lot of excitement still left to come here tonight. Getting ready to get back under the green flag. Just past halfway, Matt Hirschman is the race leader alongside the championship point leader, the 51 of Justin Bonsignor, as they roll through turn 4 at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Here in North Carolina, through the Geico restart zone, the green flag is back out, and Matt Hirschman able to get away. Not as quick this time. Bonsignor stays with him as they go through turn 2. The battle for third, though, Burt Myers working the inside of Brandon Ward, the 04. Ward quickly darts down to the bottom. He didn't want to get trapped in the outside lane like we've seen on other starts. That outside lane is a tough place to be. Kyle Bonsignor now in 5th, but for how long? Here comes Labonte working the inside lane. Bobby Labonte, bottom lane of the racetrack, 2000 NASCAR Cup Series champion. Moves into 5th, and J.B. Fortin, who had a great run at Richmond earlier this season. And he said that this racetrack, with a sweeping entry into turn 1, feels a lot like Richmond, and he expected to be good tonight. He's up to 6th. Austin Beers to the bottom of Kyle Bonsignor. You saw the handful of steering wheel out of the 14 and Patrick Emerling as he came off turn 2. As Kyle Bonsignor on the 22 starting to backpedal, he was one of the cars that came down on pit road on lap 44 the first time many of the leaders came down, as his tire is now some 40 laps old, and he's starting to pay the price for that. These tires a little bit newer for 64 of Beers. Only about 17 laps old, and a lot of those laps were cautious. Doug Covey, the 70 York, has been able to rally back to 13th after his spin that left him 16th on the racetrack. He did not come down pit road after he spun, as he still rides and tries to make up for lost ground. Emmerling now working the bottom of the 06 of Sammy Ramu in turn 1 in the battle for the 9th spot. Emmerling gets on through, sets his sights on Austin Beers, who is challenging the back bumper of Ryan Newman. Newman looks to the inside of J.B. Fortin. Fortin gives him the lane. Austin Beers will fill that hole to the inside lane, pick up another spot. As it's Labonte in the 38, Newman in a similar painted number 39 right behind. And then Austin Beers running 5th, 6th, and 7th. Ron Silk a bit deeper in the field in the 16 car. One of the cars that got a little bit out of sequence on that round of pit stops. Running back in 10th, but starting to work forward as well in the 16 car. Brings Doug Covey right along with him to get by J.B. Fortin, moving both cars back inside the top 10. Up front, Matt Hirschman has an 0.8 of a second advantage back to Justin Bonsignor, and Burt Myers riding in 3rd. Brandon Ward right along with him. The NASCAR Wheel Modified Tour for many years mostly based in the north. There was a Southern Modified Tour that Burt Myers won 2 championships with. Well known for his experience and expertise at the Bowman Gray Stadium, about an hour east of this racetrack. But those Southern drivers want to defend their home turf. It's something that Burt Myers talked about before the race tonight. Knowing that this is their wheelhouse, they are used to racing at racetracks that are so abrasive, and they've got the edge there. Labonte pitted earlier. He's losing ground on older tires. Ron Silk, Doug Covey get on through. Tommy Catalano right behind in the 54, running 11th, trying to crack the top 10. Catalano to the bottom of Labonte in turn 3, all the way down to that fresh concrete. Gets his car turning. Tyler Ripkema goes right along with him, nearly making contact with Labonte along the front straightaway. Ripkema has got a lot of damage there to the left rear of his number 32 car, as he is already preparing for the 2024 campaign. That battle starting to heat up here towards the front of the field. Justin Bonsignor has cut into the race lead that Matt Hirschman has, but Burt Myers has cut into the advantage, as has Ryan Newman, who moves down to the bottom to take over 3rd. Newman's car running on rails at the moment. Left side of your screen, that's the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Right side, we keep an eye on the charge of Doug Covey and Ron Silk. Silk running 7th. Austin Beers in the 64, who led 66 laps to start this race. He's been able to move up to the 5th spot. But Beers 1.4 seconds behind this battle for the race lead between Matt Hirschman, Ryan Newman, who moves into 2nd, and Justin Bonsignor. So the Rocket Man, Ryan Newman, has gone to the afterburners, and he is closing quickly in on the back bumper of the 60 of Matt Hirschman. Burt Myers off the pace in the 1 car, giving up a couple of spots. 3rd a moment ago, and that car is going backwards. The 1 for Myers back to 8th. Matt Hirschman, so good at conserving his equipment, getting his car to roll through the center of the corner. But he has got the most formidable challenge he has had all day long, and that is in the form of Ryan Newman, 18-time series winner in the NASCAR Cup Series, 4 modified tour victories to his credit. Knows these modified race cars well, and has been running for this SS Racing team in a variety of different races over the past year. And they have certainly gelled here tonight as he challenges the top spot in Matt Hirschman. That battle off turn 4. While Ron Silk and Doug Covey continue to chip away 1 spot at a time, get through underneath Emmerling. Here is Ryan Newman. Off turn 2 to the race lead. just past lap 100. Ryan Newman gets by Matt Hirschman, and he continues to open it up very quickly, driving away from Matt Hirschman. Now Beers falling back, as here comes the 70 York underneath him. He gets by. Patrick Emmerling gets by underneath. So the 64 losing some spots. Problems for Ken Hagee on the front straightaway. Smoke billowing out the left side of the Calverton, New York driver. Caution is out for the 5th time today. Ryan Newman leads the way at North Wilkesboro. So Ken Hagee, smoke billowing out the left side of his number 18 car, brings us under the 5th caution of the night. Hagee, who's 8th in the series points this season, having a banner year, one of his best career years in the Whelen Modified Tour. As this car is paused in turn 1, just at the exit of pit lane. Out in front, Ryan Newman. Talked a little bit about that racetrack revival that they had here at North Wilkesboro last August. And Ryan Newman won the opening 50-lap modified race. Also had the opportunity to participate in a tire test here in the month of July. He did that along with Ryan Preece. So Newman had a little bit of an extra opportunity to put some laps here on this racetrack. Newman came into the NASCAR Cup Series after they ran here at North Wilkesboro, when they stopped in 1996 and did not have an opportunity to race under the NASCAR Cup Series banner. Certainly the experienced veteran putting on a show here in front of a packed house here at this racetrack, hoping to have a good run. Herbie Sadler, who's owner of that race car, for both he and Bobby Labonte, supporting grassroots modified racing here tonight, and has over the past couple of races here this season. Still got a couple of races left to go. Those drivers, Labonte and Ryan Newman, slated to run the series finale at the Martinsville Speedway at the end of October, a Thursday evening where we'll crown the 2023 series champion. There's a couple of races left in the schedule. Next Sunday afternoon, the World Series of Speedway racing at Thompson Speedway, the 5/8 mile high banked oval in Thompson, Connecticut, before taking a month off and wrapping the season up of an 18-race schedule at the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Pit road remains closed, and what really could be the final opportunity for these teams to come down pit road, because you can't guarantee that in 45 more laps there'll be another chance to take tires and come down pit road and grab that last set. So if you've got those tires now, most likely you'll see just about everybody come down pit road and have the opportunity to get one final stop here this evening. Full moon is out here in North Wilkesboro. We'll have more of the Brushy Mountain Motorsports 150 in a moment. Pit road is open and the entire field is on pit lane, here to get service for the final time today. Ryan Newman is the race leader. He's one of the first cars to hit his pit stall in turn 4. It looks like they are going to put a 3-tire stop on the 39 for Ryan Newman. Championship point leader Justin Bonsignor hits his stall, slides into a stop. They'll come around. It'll be a 3-tire stop for him. Matt Hirschman was second when they came down pit road. 2 right side tires for the moment for Matt Hirschman. He has 4 tires he could change if he chose to. But Hirschman, 2 on the rights right now. Also in, directly in front of him, is Austin Beers in the 64 car. Doug Kobe in for service. One of the quickest cars off of pit road. 2 tires stop. Matt Hirschman's going to win the race off of pit road. Doug Kobe off in second. Then it's going to be Ryan Newman coming off of pit road in third. And Justin Bonsignor and his team is going to lose a handful of spots. They'll fall outside of the top 5 as they come off of pit lane. So, quick pit work by the 60 team. Right side tires only for Matt Hirschman. He'll regain the race lead. Doug Kobe, after his spin, will come out second. And Ryan Newman on the pit stop. 3 tires for him. Goes from first back to third. Fourth is going to be Ron Silk, Patrick Emmerling, Tyler Ripkenbutt, J.B. Fortin in the 51 car. One of the quickest cars typically on pit road. Gave up a handful of spots, at least 3 if not 4 spots on that round of pit stops. Really interesting, the strategy for Matt Hirschman. By my notes, Matt Hirschman only took 2 tires early in the race and took 2 tires here at the end. And I noticed down on pit road before they went out onto the track that Hirschman had 1 sticker tire available that he could take at the end of the race. But it's going to be a 2-tire stop for Matt Hirschman and Doug Kobe, who's got sticker tires on his race car. You can see it as it rolls out into the racetrack. Will come in second. Sticker tires for Newman. You see those rear 2 tires. Brand new Hoosier tires on them. And that's going to set us up for a shootout here tonight. It'll be less than 40 laps to go when they get the green flag at North Wilkesboro, and it's all going to come down to this. Now, the tires are good for about 50 laps. We're going to be inside that. The question is who is going to be aggressive? How fast are they going to push, and can they keep those tires under them? Because about 20 laps into the run, they'll start skating around. And by the time they get 40 laps in, there will be little to nothing left as far as grip goes on those race cars. So still a lot left to go. Several cars still in competition here today. Only a handful of drivers have fallen out. Eddie McCarthy, John Michael Sinnett, Tim Conley, Craig Lutz, Ken Hagee, Chase Dowling, all out of the competition here tonight of the 38 cars that started the event here tonight at North Wilkesboro. There's Austin Beers in the 64 car. The 64 car of Austin Beers is getting a penalty on pit road for running over pit equipment. There's a call from NASCAR Race Control. They will go to the tail end of the field. Austin Beers, one of the quickest cars all day long, led laps early, the first 66 laps, and pit road troubles will cost them here tonight and will cost them an opportunity to win at North Wilkesboro. That very well could take Austin Beers out of the championship hunt heading into the final 2 races. He was clinging on to a 3rd place position in the standings, but was still quite a ways back, 38 points back. And an opportunity to run for the victory here tonight. Tonight, in Wilkes County, they will race for this. The Moonshine still one of the most outstanding trophies that we have seen of the 2023 season. Of course, deep roots here in NASCAR with Moonshine runners, the likes of Junior Johnson, who are innovative in the sport. Took all the interior out of the race cars to make them light, to be able to outrun law enforcement, because that way you'd stay out of jail. It wasn't about winning. It was about getting the job done. And the Moonshine era here in this part of the country, part of the history. Green flag is out. Brett Meservey down to the inside of the 59 car. Stayed out. That leaves Matt Hirschman to the outside to battle for the race lead. Hirschman goes to the top side of the racetrack. Kobe thought about going to the bottom, but Hirschman back out in front. Newman now up to third, but Doug Covey's going to ship the 59 in turn 3. He moves into second, and Ron Silk comes right with him. Newman was up to second, but he was to the outside of the 59 of Meserve, and he got pushed up the racetrack when Covey pushed the 59 up the hill. He was not happy about the 59 in the way while he was racing for the race lead. And now Brett Meserve will fall backwards to the outside. J.B. Fortin now to the bottom. Up front, Matt Hirschman looks in the rearview mirror, and Doug Covey is there. He's got Ron Silk right along with him. 1, 2, 3. These drivers have dominated these kind of racetracks. Here comes Covey, working to the bottom in turn 1. Lost the momentum on the inside, and Matt Hirschman was able to drive to the outside and hold on for the moment. Emerling trying to make a late race charge. He goes to the bottom as Newman misses turn 3 and goes up the racetrack. Bonsignor back by Newman as Newman's got marbles on his tires. Can't stay underneath him. He'll gather it back in and continue the pursuit. Up front, Hirschman. 3 cars gapping the 4th place car. Tyler Ripkema having a great run tonight in 4th. 33 laps to go. And Matt Hirschman starting to change his line a bit. He's been running that mid to upper groove of the racetrack. Lately, he's been on the bottom with these new tires. Trying to protect the crew from Doug Covey, and Hirschman starting to open up the advantage now. 4 or 5 car lengths as he walks away from the 7th. Ron Silk and that team, what will they do? They know that Justin Bonsignor, just a couple of spots behind in the 6th position, would have the opportunity to retake the point lead here tonight. Based on where they finish right now. Bill Moran said, the crew chief, caution flag is out, 6th time tonight. 1 car in trouble along the front straightaway, and it is Bobby Labonte who has knocked the left front tire off that 38 car. So 119 laps into the 150 here tonight in the Brushy Mountain Powersports 150, and Bobby Labonte will bring that car down to the infield. His night is done, and he looks like he is hot under the helmet of that 38 car. NASCAR Hall of Famer is Bobby Labonte, the 2000 NASCAR Cup Series champion. Had a good solid run going throughout much of this event. Both the SS Racing Team cars were very fast tonight, and Labonte is going to drive it right to his hauler, nearly drive it right into the hauler. Boy, not happy with the incident here. Well, just before the caution came out, I was going to mention Ron Silk. Crew Chief Phil Moran earlier in the day said, when we get to lap 25, I'm going to look around who I am racing with out on the racetrack. And that's going to be the opportunity when I tell Ron Silk whether we go or we be conservative and keep an eye on the bigger picture with the championship. They played their strategy a little bit different than what we saw Bonsignor do, and he has got himself in the 3rd spot right now against a couple of very trusted veterans in Matt Hirschman and the 70 York of Doug Covey. So we'll see whether or not Phil Moran gives Ron Silk the go signal when we get back under the green flag and allows him to go for the opportunity and go for the win here tonight, or whether or not they will take a conservative approach from a championship standpoint. There's one guy behind him who is not really interested in being a conservative, and that is Tyler Ripkema in that 32 car. That family operation has had good runs this season, and Ripkema starting to invest in his 2024 program already. They said one of the things that hurt him this year was the mechanical problems on that 32 car. They had a clutch go away after a strong run in the late going at the Magic Mile, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Good solid runs at Lancaster with a brand new race car, and Oswego before getting up in that Justin Bonsignor, Gary McDonald, Tommy Catalano incident in turn 1. He's got some damage on that 32 car again tonight, but Tyler Ripkema putting together another solid run here at a racetrack that, like many of the teams here, has never had the opportunity to race at before. Go back one more spot. Patrick Emmerling in the 14 car. Joe Stearns and Billy Putney both driver champions. Joe Stearns, who owns that 14 car, won a track championship at Lancaster Speedway up in Western New York. Billy Putney, a Race of Champions modified champion as a driver. Would love to be able to plan more Whelen Modified Tour races in the 2024 campaign, and has enjoyed the time that they have had. Great to have a new team with the series that's been out 3 times this car, this being the 3rd, and every single time to date they finished inside the top 5 with 2 different drivers. Chuck Hosfeld wheeled it to a top 5 at Lancaster, then at Oswego Speedway. Bobby Santos wheeled that car inside the top 5, and Patrick Emmerling runs 5th at the moment with an opportunity to continue the momentum that 14 car has built with 3 different drivers behind the wheel. The lights of the pace car have gone out. It'll be a 25-lap shootout when they see the green flag here at the start-finish line and get back underway. Doug Coby has shown to be pretty aggressive on that last restart. We'll see how aggressive he is here. He'll be in the outside lane. Matt Hirschman is the race leader. We'll start to the bottom. Coby, a 6-time series champion. Hirschman, who has won just about everything you can win in modified racing, to the bottom, and he's already got a win here at North Wilkesboro. Green flag is out. Coby spins the tires, and Matt Hirschman is able to get away cleanly. Now Ron Silk pulls to the bottom of Coby in turn 1. They've rubbed dirt bars up turn 2. Hirschman away with the race lead, and Ron Silk up to second. Ripkema not having a good start. He'll backpedal on the outside as Newman gets underneath. Justin Bonsignor trying to fill the gap underneath as well. They scatter down the front straightaway. Newman slides into 5th. Ripkema, though, not giving up in the outside lane. Hauls it down into turn number 3. Pokes the nose out in front. Newman all the way down to the bottom. His car gets loose, and we've got trouble. Caution number 7 on the night, this time for Anthony Nocella in the number 92. His car stopped in the middle of turns 1 and 2. So Nocella, his car paused in turns 1 and 2. Well, we just saw the incident 1 caution ago with Bobby Labonte. Let's hear more from him with Jesse Punch.
Bobby Labonte brought his 38 down here to the garage under that last caution. Bobby showed some promise here tonight. What happened out there?
Yeah, just in line with a lot of guys that were really good, and I had one behind me that wanted to get through me instead of by me. So anyway, that's the way it goes. Yeah, we were okay. Probably, needed a little bit better restart, but other than that, it was fun, and yeah, I just kind of got knocked around a little bit.
Well, I'm glad you had fun. Thanks for the time, Bobby.
Thank you.
It's Bobby Labonte, an unfortunate end to the night here, a little early.
Thanks, Jesse. He did have a good run tonight for sure, did Bobby Labonte. Great having him in the field. We'll see him again in about a month's time at the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia when the 2023 season comes to a close for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. So the front row will look a little bit different. It'll be Matt Hirschman and Ron Silk on the front row. And Doug Coby will have an opportunity to start on the bottom. And he'll have Ryan Newman right behind him. Remember, it wasn't too long ago where when Doug Coby shipped the 59 car, Newman came up on the wrong end of that deal. We'll see if there's any payback that comes back when we get back under the green flag. When they came down pit road knowing that they were going to have about 40 laps to go on those tires, there was certainly the question of how aggressive these drivers would go over the past little bit. And now with these short runs, you can be pretty aggressive, but still, it doesn't take long for these tires to get chewed up. So they're still going to be skating around quite a bit here in the final few laps of this one. But they certainly know that they've got 20 laps to go when they come across the line this time by. And the time is now to use whatever else you have left in those Hoosier tires. Speaking of Hoosier tires, we mentioned a lot about the history of NASCAR. The last Cup Series win that Hoosier got came here at this racetrack, and it came in 1994. Well, a modified driver that won that race. It was Jeffrey Bodine who won that day. Brett Bodine, his brother, also won here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. As the modified routes certainly run deep, as we've talked about throughout the night. Pace car will head for cover. 19 laps to go at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Matt Hirschman on the bottom as a new challenger, and it's Ron Silk to the outside. Row 2, Doug Kobe, Patrick Emmerling. Row 3, Ryan Newman and Tyler Ripkema. Green flag flies. Both cars spin the tires at the front, but Hirschman not able to get away. This time through, Silk challenges into turn 1. Now Kobe to the inside lane for second. He'll draw alongside midway down the back straightaway. Silk with the advantage, but Kobe drives deep to the bottom of turns 3 and 4. He'll take over the second spot. Here's Bonsignor and Silk running together for the first time tonight. Silk trapped in the outside lane. Bonsignor puts the bumper to Ryan Newman. The 2-point leaders battle, beat, and bang on each other on the back straightaway. Smoke flies as they get down into turn 3. Bonsignor trapped in behind Ryan Newman. Now it's Silk with Newman in the way. Newman running his line on the race course. But Bonsignor and Ron Silk, the 2 championship point leaders, battling side by side behind them. This battle here, an opportunity to maintain the championship lead for Justin Bonsignor. He gets through. Andrew Kraus gets through, and Ron Silk is trapped in the outside groove. Silk to the outside. You can see him sawing on the wheel. Forces Brandon Ward to the inside. Ward will roll out of the throttle and give Ron Silk the lane as he muscles his way to the bottom. It's not over yet, though. Here's contact. Andrew Kraus gets into the side of Bonsignor, goes sideways. 3 wide behind him as Ripkema starts to backpedal. The tires are faded. They've worn everything out of these Hoosier Racing tires, and there's not much left in the closing laps. Silk and Bonsignor are still going at it now as they exit turn 2. Here is Silk. Looks to the inside. This is 4th and 5th. Bonsignor in the 51, the leader of the championship chase by 1 point. Remember, last race at Riverhead, Justin Bonsignor pushed Ron Silk out of the way for the win. And tonight, Ron Silk drives by with ease to the inside of turns 1 and 2. Silk now sets his sights on Ryan Newman in the 39 car. Caution is out. 8th time tonight. The caution flag flies. This time, Jacob Perry, once again, trouble for him on the back straightaway. Just off turn 2. It's been a rough night for the 21 car of Jacob Perry. Also involved was Gary Putnam. He brought out our first caution of the night tonight. Right front damage on the 77 car of Putnam. So Gary Putnam brings that 77 car back to the garage area. His night is done. Damage on both corners of his car, originally out of Vernon, Connecticut. Getting down to the end of this one. Matt Hirschman leading the way while we watched that battle behind with Justin Bonsignor, Ron Silk, and all the excitement that was happening a little bit deeper in the field. Matt Hirschman went unchallenged by Doug Kobe. He was able to keep Kobe at bay. Hirschman has been back in a modified since the wheel modified tour race at Thompson Speedway, where he broke a bone in his left arm, and it took him out of what was a very strong season. He's already got 2 wins at the Seekonk Speedway and the Lee USA Speedway. Got back-to-back wins earlier this season. Both of those racetracks pretty abrasive, and Hirschman, a driver that knows how to conserve his equipment, and he's one of the best at it. And you watched him in practice and qualifying earlier in the day today. He was lifting earlier, getting into the corner, allows his car to float through turns 1 and 2, not use up too much tire, and ease back to the throttle. That is what Matt Hirschman is known for. His dad, Tony Hirschman, a champion in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. His brother, a champion in the NASCAR Cup Series as a spotter for Kyle Busch, now working with Ty Gibbs for Joe Gibbs Racing. The roots in modified success roll deep in the Hirschman family. The 22 car of Kyle Bonsignor making a stop here in the late going. We're one to go here, but we are watching that battle with Justin Bonsignor and Ron Silk. Here's what happened last week at the Riverhead Raceway. Last time out, these two battling for the win. Silk out in front. You see how much brake he was using. Bonsignor not afraid to use that front bumper to get ahead. Silk on the final lap sends him up the racetrack some more, and they battled over the past couple of laps and ended up being Justin Bonsignor to get the win. And so that intensity for the championship still carries over. Silk 4th, Bonsignor 5th. 8 laps to go when they get the green flag. Matt Hirschman has been outstanding on the bottom of the restarts. Kobe rolls to the top, went a little bit early. He had to get out of the gas. Hirschman goes to the bottom. Ryan Newman looks 3 wide to the bottom of turn 1, and Matt Hirschman gets away with the race lead. Newman now set to battle with Doug Kobe. Silk out of shape on the back straightaway. There's been more action on the straightaways tonight than we've had in the turns with some of the loose tires on these race cars and the lack of grip throughout this race course. Silk able to gather it back in. You see behind them battles. Silk looking on Ryan Newman into turn 3. Did not have the advantage there. Couldn't make it work, but he closes in on the front straightaway. Into turn 1. High entry for Silk. Will he try to cross off turn 2? He does. To the inside lane into turn 3. Silk working the bottom lane of the racetrack. Ryan Newman will give him room. Bonsignor right there as well. Can't fill the gap. And Silk able to move into 3rd. Up front, less than 5 laps to go. Matt Hirschman in command. Doug Kobe 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th on your screen. You go back through the bottom half of the top 10. Action throughout all of this. To the end of it, Brandon Ward in the outside lane, battling for position. You see how skaty the cars are, getting off turn number 4 in the closing laps. Silk trying to hold Ryan Newman at bay. Bonsignor trying to hold off Andrew Krause. Three to go this time. Best battle on the racetrack is this one right here, the battle for 3rd with Ron Silk and Ryan Newman. Both who have had stellar days so far today. Bonsignor watches it out his windshield, running there in 5th, trying to make a solid charge at the end of the day is Bobby Santos. Smoke flying along the front straightaway between the 04 and the 32. Everybody trying to get everything they can get in the closing stages of this one. Kyle Ebersole to the bottom. But it's not over yet. Caution flag is out, and heavy damage to the 70 car of Andy Seiss. He has knocked the spoiler clear loose of that 70 car. Barely hanging on by some of the strut and braces. That right rear sail panel badly damaged, and into the bumper for the 70 of Andy Seiss. And that will send us up for a green-white checker overtime finish. It wouldn't happen any other way. Badly damaged number 7 machine. Andy Seiss got his car rolling once again. We talked a little bit about the restart between Doug Kobe and Matt Hirschman. Hirschman has been stellar on the bottom, preferred lane, getting down into turn 1. The NASCAR officials giving a little warning to both teams, both the 60 of Matt Hirschman and the 70 York of Doug Kobe, to make sure that they follow all the proper restart procedure rules, and that they will be monitoring that when they get back under the green flag here in the closing laps. can happen, and it usually does. A little tape going on in the back of that 70 car. Keep that spoiler down to try to get Andy Seiss to the finish, who has changed his career path. For a while was working for Trackhouse Racing, but now works on the Arcus side with Andy Jankowiak. Pretty well full-time on that operation as they look to expand in the 2024 season. And Andy Seiss with an opportunity to come out here and run not too far from home, even though he's from Hampstead, New Hampshire. Now calls North Carolina home, about 45 minutes from North Wilkesboro Speedway. And his night's not going to end the way he hoped it would with that badly damaged, family-owned number 7 car. 70. Well, this packed crowd here at North Wilkesboro was certainly in for a dandy of a show this evening. And they are now in for a green, white checkered finish, an overtime finish here tonight. That warning has been delivered to both the 60 of Matt Hirschman and the 7 of Doug Coby. We'll see if they heed that warning when we get back to the green flag and a shootout and an opportunity to win this inaugural event, and one that every team in the series has had circled and more. All eyes on North Wilkesboro Speedway. Hirschman getting some heat into that left front tire. On the bottom groove, the race leader is Matt Hirschman. He has the opportunity to fire first in the restart zone. They roll up off the turn. A clean start. Hirschman gets away with it. Ron Silk sitting there in second. To the bottom lane, challenging with Doug Coby. On the back straightaway, they will look for the white flag, this time by Matt Hirschman in command. Silk battling for second. Coby walks up the racetrack. That will allow Bonsignor to come to the inside lane. White flag is out. The next flag will end the race. Coby and Bonsignor come together. Matt Hirschman on the back straightaway for the final time. Car number 60 of Hirschman into turn 3. Off turn number 4. And Matt Hirschman wins at North Wilkesboro Speedway, making history tonight. Doug Coby will crash at the checkered flag along with the 34 and the rest of the field. JB Fortin airborne at the finish. Tyler Ripkema in the 32 car was involved as well. The 34 car went over the back of the 32 of Tyler Ripkema. Andy Seiss is involved. Jamie Tomeno at the finish. It started with the 7 New York of Doug Coby, who went sliding into the outside wall. They're going to go ahead and stop the rest of the field. Smoke everywhere along the front straightaway. The 60 car of Matt Hirschman is the race winner tonight. And the Brushy Mountain Powersports 150 at North Wilkesboro. Many cars involved in the accident after the caution flag came out, after the checkered flag flew. Some of them still down on the racetrack. The 70 of Andy Seiss, the 22 of Kyle Bonsignor is there. There you see the badly damaged 32 car for Tyler Ripkema, and the 34 car of JB Fortin that is paused just past the 32. While all that happens, the 60 car of Matt Hirschman has now pulled up onto the elevator that will carry him to North Wilkesboro Speedway Victory Lane and have an opportunity to take that very historic ride. So the 60 of Matt Hirschman will ride to Victory Lane here in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Andy Seiss is out of his 70 car and stands alongside it here on the front straightaway. The safety crews are there. Safety crews also working with the 32 car of Tyler Ripkema and the 34 of JB Fortin. Fortin's car who went airborne over the back of Ripkema as they came to the checkered flag. Everybody trying to avoid the situation, but with all the smoke and the track closing up very quickly, there wasn't a lot of room for them to be able to do that. Tyler Ripkema is out of his race car and will walk into the ambulance here along the front straightaway. There's the two cars that are paused. This is just into turn number 1, near about the 3rd or 4th pit stall down on pit lane. Here's a look at what happened. Watch the 7 New York of Doug Coby. As they came to the checkered flag, there was contact with he and Newman. Coby's car got out of shape, and it bounced off Andrew Krause and hits the outside wall. But watch the blue 34 on the left side. Goes into the inside lane of the track. Hit the wall with the nose of that race car. And then the car came back down on all 4 wheels and slid across the front straightaway, and Tyler Ripkema was there as well. So Matt Hirschman rides the elevator to the top of the infield victory lane here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. A famous ride. A ride that he has taken before, but the first time here under the Whelen Modified Tour banner. And Matt Hirschman will roll this car into victory lane. The PD Motorsports entry, big recovery for Matt. 3rd win of the season for him in the 60 team. And they played a bit of a different strategy than everybody else in the field tonight. A couple of 2-tire stops for Matt Hirschman, going to get him the win here this evening, as his car now positioned in victory lane here at North Wilkesboro Speedway, right in the heart of the infield. And his entire team will join him along the way, and they'll celebrate an opportunity, that Moonshine Still Trophy. Looking back at the history of the Moonshine Runners here in Wilkes County that really formed the foundation of short track racers at this part of the country. Junior Johnson, who made this area famous, and the innovation that came out of that, lightening the vehicles, strengthening the bumpers, making them fast, working on suspension, aerodynamics, all of it. That innovation came from this part of the country. The crowd still here. They have witnessed a wild night of motorsports here in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And Matt Hirschman has made it to victory lane at North Wilkesboro. What a year it has been for this driver, rebounding from that broken arm at Thompson Speedway in Connecticut in August. Let's go down to victory lane and hear from our winner, Matt Hirschman.
Wilkesboro Speedway, he does it in overtime. Matt, congratulations on the big win. You've been up here in victory lane before, but this one is a little different, being the first time the Whelen Modifieds are here. Describe this moment.
Yeah, I mean, we did it last year, and that was historical and just a great experience, but this is an even bigger race. So North Wilkesboro's back, and it's here to stay. What do you think? Woo!
Matt, what was going through your mind there coming to that final restart in overtime?
I mean, obviously we had it won. If it continued, you don't want to see that, just because it groups everybody back up. But you know, we were good at, good when we needed to be. Newman, I was kind of keeping an eye on him late, because in the middle portion when we had the lead, he was able to come on and take the lead from us. So I was kind of most interested in him once we could get clear of the 7, 16, whoever it was. So yeah, just really, really happy, thankful for PD Motorsports to give us this opportunity, and all the crew guys, excellent jobs. A lot of work goes into this, both from at home and then at the track. And this is a tough. I was thinking before this race, this is going to be a really hard race to win, just because of the amount of strategy involved, the pit stops, 2 stops, 3 stops, didn't really know. So just really thankful for everything. Good to be back racing again after a month off with an injury. And this is going to be one of the biggest wins of the year, probably the biggest one to date so far. And the last couple years, I mean, the opener at New Smyrna, the first ever Whelen Tour race there, that was anticipated for a long time. We won that last year, and now we got this, which was another highly anticipated event. And I'm going to miss the old surface because so far I got 2 wins on it, but it'll be a real neat place. It'll be hopefully it'll be here for a long time to stay, and the modifieds will be back, and we can try for more wins here in North Wilkesboro.
Matt, congratulations on the win.
Thanks.
Big money Matt Hirschman is back, and he's back in victory lane at North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Well, Matt Hirschman has won a lot of modified races, and when he says this is going to be one of the biggest wins of his career, then that says something. He's got his entire family, his wife here with him on the quad here in victory lane. I'm sure they'll make good use of that. Matt Hirschman and this team, boy, they played the strategy right, and they certainly earned this victory every stretch of the imagination. Missed the pole position by just so narrow of a margin, and Matt Hirschman nearly won both the pole and the race here today, but he'll settle for the race victory in an overtime finish to be able to beat some of the best in the field. Let's take a look at how they finished here tonight at North Wilkesboro. Matt Hirschman ended up with the race win. Ron Silk came home second, just ahead of Justin Bonsignor in third. Eric Goodale, good rally for him. He started deep in the field back in the 20th position. He'll finish fourth tonight. Patrick Emmerling was fifth. Ryan Newman was sixth. He got shuffled out at the late stages up in the outside lane of the racetrack. Andrew Kraus, seventh. Eighth for Doug Kobe. Kyle Ebersol was ninth, and Bobby Santos rallied back to a top 10 day. Quiet day for Anthony Cecily. He finished 11th, 12th for Tyler Ripkema in that last lap crash. J.B. Fortin 13th. Austin Beers was 14th. 15th for Dave Zappienza, and Jake Johnson, whose car went away early in the race, was not able to gain that track position back. He finished in 16th. Sammy Ramu 17th. 18th for Burt Myers. 19th Nocella. And Tommy Catalano, your top 20. 21st was Kyle Bonsignor. 22nd, Andy Seiss. 23rd for Jamie Tomato, Brandon Ward, Carson Lofton rounding out the top 25. And it was Brett Meservey, Jacob Perry, Melissa Fifield, Gary McDonald, and Chris Hatton, your top 30. Out of the race, Gary Putnam, Ken Hagee, Bobby Labonte, Craig Lutz, Chase Dowling, Tim Conley, John Michael Chinette, and Eddie McCarthy, your finish, and the 38 drivers in the field here tonight. Matt Hirschman being presented the trophy by Tim and Lynn Quinn. That Moonshine Steel trophy that we were talking about. We've seen a lot of great trophies here this season. The Bulldog for the Duel at the Dog at Monadnock Speedway. We've seen the Fair style trophy, the Winchester Fair. Who could forget the 1948 Cup, very similar to the Cup that was handed the very first winner at New Smyrna Speedway this year. Mirrored the trophy that was handed out on the beaches of Daytona back in 1948, 75 years ago. But that one there also speaks to the history of NASCAR. Even you look at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, there's an era of moonshine in the NASCAR Hall of Fame because of the roots in this part of the country here in Wilkes County that had so much to do with the story and the history of NASCAR racing. Crowd still on hand here tonight. They've got another feature event that they are ready to watch. Some more open wheel modified competition still yet to come here this evening for these fans, and they are sticking around for that. In a moment, we'll be able to hear from some of our other top 5 finishers as Jesse Punch and the entire team makes their way from victory lane to where those drivers are paused down in the NASCAR trailer and their NASCAR inspection area. We'll hear from some of those old other finishers here in a moment before we sign off for tonight. Next week, Sunday afternoon, the tour travels north once again. It'll be the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. 150 laps of action there for that event. The traditional World Series of Speedway racing. Still 2 races left to go, and the championship battle is tight as ever. And after tonight, really will look to become a 2-horse race. Ron Silk with the 2nd place finish. Justin Bonsignor with the 3rd place finish here tonight. Austin Beers back in 14th will make it very difficult for him to be able to win the title here in the 2023 campaign, but still has an opportunity to hold on to that third spot before the season comes to a close. Let's hear from one of those championship contenders we've been talking about. Jesse Punch is with our second place finisher, Ron Silk.
Ron Silk is your runner-up finish here tonight. Ron, taking back to that final restart, anything you would have done differently?
Yeah, that was finally one of the ones I got to start on the bottom, which helped a lot. I don't know. My car was really good the longer the run went, so all those little short runs at the end didn't help me too much. But all in all, a really good car. I knew it was going to race well. I could tell by the way it drove in practice. And solid. Second's a solid night. Congratulations to Matt and his team. They did a great job. And we'll go to Thompson and try again.
How important was it for you to have a strong finish here tonight, knowing that you only have a 3-point lead on the point standings going into the final 3 races of the season?
Yeah, I think I got a 3-point deficit, so now it's a 2-point deficit. But it's really close. Every point matters. When you're out there racing, at the end, you're thinking about winning the race and not really about the points. But it's close and probably going to be close right to the end.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
That's your second place finish here tonight, Ron Silk.
And they raced like it tonight as well. They were going at it, both he and Justin Bonsignor both had very good race cars, aggressive race cars. Silk didn't qualify as well as Bonsignor did tonight, but he was able to rally up through using their strategy of taking 3 tires twice here this evening to be able to keep their track position and battle there at the end. But nobody was there to battle Matt Hirschman. Let's hear from our third place finisher with Jesse Punch. It's Justin Bonsignor.
Justin Bonsignor bringing it home third here tonight. Justin, you restarted 5th there on that final restart and managed to gain some position. What was the key to that tonight?
Just that green white checker kind of saved us and gained us a couple spots there, got us back to the podium. We were struggling to hold on to 5th there coming to that white right before the caution, and tires cooled off, and we just had a good start, and the outside lane didn't go, and Ron and I were able to kind of sneak by them guys there and just kind of stole a couple spots. We were really tight on that last set of tires. It's unfortunate. We probably should have put that set on first on the first pit stop, but live and learn. It's always easier to look back and think what you should have done, but good night. Obviously this is going to go down to the end here, tit for tat, 1 point here, 1 point there each and every week. So on to Thompson where we won earlier. We're looking forward to getting back there, and we'll see how it goes.
I know that you weren't super satisfied with how Ron Silk raced you last race at Riverhead, but you guys were racing around each other here in these final laps. Were you satisfied with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we both know the big picture here, and we're not going to put ourselves in bad positions. These are big racetracks too, where you can't be doing things like that. So, that's the respect that Ron and I have had for 15 years racing against each other or whatever it's been. So, we'll get back to that. I think in these last 2 races, it'll be a lot of fun for the fans. This is gonna be a championship for the ages, I think.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
That's Justin Bonsignor, your second place finisher tonight.
The thoughts of Justin Bonsignor. Had a good solid run here tonight. Another podium for that team, and he noted it. A battle for the ages. But tonight, the battle was all Matt Hirschman's. He gets another victory, one of the biggest of his career, he noted, atop some of the outstanding accomplishments that has earned him the moniker and the title. Big money Matt tonight. He wins at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Although next time when we come back, it'll be on new pavement here at this racetrack as he wins the final race at this particular track with this surface. It's been a great day today here at North Wilkesboro. 38 cars strong. The action was intense on this very abrasive and historic track. For the first time, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour came here, and they put on an outstanding show that even challenged some of the series competitors. But at the end of the day, Matt Hirschman wins at North Wilkesboro and writes his name in modified racing history books here tonight in Wilkes County.